In the vast, glittering expanse of the galaxy, where stars whispered secrets and nebulae danced like forgotten dreams, there existed a place shrouded in legend and peril, the Galactic Peril Academy, tucked away on the stormy planet of Zarathia. This fortress of forged steel and shimmering energy fields was no ordinary school. It was a crucible for the universe's most lethal warriors, an all-female enclave where only the fiercest alien females from across the cosmos were forged into unstoppable forces. These weren't just students, they were daughters of distant worlds, each one a masterpiece of evolution, tall, graceful beings with porcelain-white skin that glowed under the Academy's artificial suns, hair as white as fresh fallen snow cascading down their backs, and delicate, pointed ears that twitched at the slightest sound. Like those of ancient elves from Earth's forgotten myths, they moved with a predatory elegance, their bodies curved and toned, clad in form-fitting suits of iridescent fabric that hugged every contour, blending high-tech armor with an allure that could disarm even the most stoic soul. Into this den of danger stumbled Jax, a human boy from the backwater colony of Terra Nova. He wasn't supposed to be there. No male had ever set foot in the Academy's hallowed halls, let alone a scrawny, wide-eyed earthling with nothing but his wits and a perpetual grin plastered across his face. Jax had been on a routine cargo run, hauling supplies through the asteroid belts, when a freak warp storm yanked his shuttle off course. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and before he could even curse his luck, his ship crash-landed on Zarathia's unforgiving surface. Smoke billowed from the wreckage as he clambered out, coughing and wiping soot from his eyes. The air was thick with the scent of ozone and alien flora, sweet, almost intoxicating, like jasmine mixed with the tang of metal. He barely had time to orient himself before they appeared. Silhouettes against the crimson sky, a patrol of Academy cadets descended upon him like avenging angels. Leading them was Lyra, the Academy's star pupil, her white hair whipping in the wind, her eyes, a piercing violet, narrowing in suspicion. She was stunning, her suit clinging to her lithe form, accentuating the swell of her hips and the strength in her limbs. Her pointed ears flicked forward, picking up the rhythm of his heartbeat. "Intruder," she hissed, her voice a melodic growl that sent shivers down Jax's spine. Weapons hummed to life in the hands of her companions, Zara with her fierce glare, Nara whose smile hid a venomous intent, and Vexa, whose curves seemed designed to distract as much as her laser pistol aimed to destroy. Jax raised his hands slowly, that grin of his never faltering. It wasn't fear that kept it there, it was something deeper, a human stubbornness that refused to bow to the unknown. "Whoa, ladies, easy now, I'm just a lost delivery boy, no harm intended." His voice was casual, laced with a charm that felt out of place in this deadly arena. The aliens exchanged glances, their ears twitching in confusion. Humans were myths to them, primitive apes from a distant rock, not worthy of notice. Yet here he was, smiling like he owned the place. Lyra stepped closer, her weapon trained on his chest. Up close, she was even more breathtaking, her skin flawless, her scent a subtle mix of wildflowers and stardust. "You trespass on sacred ground, male. This academy is for females only. You're kind, you're not even supposed to exist here." Her words dripped with disdain, but there was a flicker in her eyes, curiosity, perhaps. Jax's grin widened. "Sacred ground, huh? Well, where I come from, crashing uninvited is just bad manners. But hey, maybe I can make it up to you. Got any spare parts for my ship?" Before she could respond, alarms wailed across the Academy. A massive shadow loomed overhead, a rogue asteroid, pulled by the storm, hurtling toward the main dome. Chaos erupted. The cadets scrambled, but Jax, with his human ingenuity, spotted the flaw in their defense grid, a loose panel flickering erratically. Without thinking, he dashed forward, shoving past Zara's stunned form, and slammed his fist into the emergency override. Sparks flew, but the shields activated just in time, deflecting the asteroid with a thunderous boom. The ground shook, dust settled, and when the cadets looked up, Jax was still grinning, wiping his hands on his pants. "See, teamwork makes the dream work." Lyra lowered her weapon slightly, her violet eyes wide. For the first time, she saw him not as a threat, but as something intriguing, a grinning enigma who had just saved their hides. Little did she know, this was only the beginning. Jax's accidental intrusion would unravel secrets buried deep within the Academy, secrets that threatened not just Zarathia, but the entire galaxy. As the patrol escorted him inside, bound but unbroken, Jax couldn't help but notice the way the cadets stole glances at him. Zara's cheeks flushed a faint blue. Nara whispered something to Vexa that made her giggle softly. a sound like tinkling crystals. The Academy's halls were a marvel, towering arches of crystal that pulsed with energy, training arenas where holographic beasts roared, and dormitories that hummed with the soft glow of bioluminescent lights. But beneath the beauty lurked danger, extinction-level simulations, rivalries that could turn deadly, and a conspiracy brewing in the shadows. Jax was thrown into a holding cell, but his mind raced. He wasn't just surviving, he was adapting, his human spirit turning fear into fuel. Lyra lingered outside the force field, watching him. "Why do you smile like that? Human, do you not fear death?" Jax leaned against the wall, his eyes meeting hers with a spark that made her heart skip, a sensation alien to her warrior blood. "Fear? Nah, where's the fun in that? Besides, I've got a feeling this place could use a little human touch." Unbeknownst to him, the Academy's High Council was in uproar, a human male in their midst. It violated every protocol. But the headmistress, a towering figure named Mira with hair like flowing silver and ears that seemed to hear thoughts, saw potential. "Observe him," she commanded. "He may be the key to our salvation or our undoing." As night fell on Zarathia, with its dual moons casting ethereal light through the windows, Jax settled in, his grin fading only slightly as he pondered his fate. The air grew heavy with anticipation, the kind that promised adventure, danger, and perhaps something more intimate. Lyra, unable to shake the image of his defiant smile, found herself drawn back to the cell. She deactivated the field just enough to slip inside, her body language a mix of caution and intrigue. "Tell me about your world, human. Why are you really here?" Jax chuckled softly, the sound echoing warmly. "Call me Jax, and honestly, fate has a funny way of throwing curveballs, but if I'm stuck here, might as well make friends." Their conversation flowed like a gentle stream, her questions probing, his answers laced with humor and honesty. She laughed for the first time in cycles, a genuine, melodic sound that surprised even her. As she leaned closer, her white hair brushing his arm, a spark ignited, one that blended curiosity with an undeniable attraction. But danger loomed. Whispers in the corridors spoke of a hidden faction within the Academy, plotting to unleash an ancient weapon that could shatter planets. Jax, with his outsider's perspective, might be the only one to see the threads connecting it all. As Lyra left, promising to return, Jax's grin returned in full force. He was in over his head, but humans had a knack for turning the tide. The next day dawned with trials, brutal simulations where cadets faced holographic horrors. Jax, released under probation, was thrust into the fray. "Prove your worth or perish," Mira declared. The arena was a coliseum of shifting sands and illusory voids. Beasts materialized, tentacled monstrosities from the void, roaring with fangs that dripped acid. The cadets fought with grace, their suits enhancing speed and strength, lasers slicing through the air. Jax had no suit, no weapon, just his wits. As a beast lunged at Lyra, pinning her momentarily, he improvised. Grabbing a loose energy conduit from the arena floor, he fashioned a makeshift whip, cracking it against the creature's hide. Electricity surged, stunning it long enough for Lyra to deliver the killing blow. She turned to him, breathless, her chest heaving under her suit. "You saved me." Her hand brushed his, a touch that lingered, electric in its own right. From that moment, alliances formed. Zara, initially hostile, softened when Jax shared a joke about his crash landing, making her laugh despite herself. Nara challenged him to a spar, her movements fluid and seductive, but his dodges and quips left her impressed and intrigued. The Academy buzzed with rumors, the grinning human who charmed the uncharmable. Yet, shadows deepened. During a late-night stroll, Jax overheard whispers in a hidden alcove. Vexa and a few others plotted, mentioning a core destabilizer hidden in the Academy's depths. His heart raced. This was bigger than survival. It was a conspiracy to overthrow the galactic balance. As he confided in Lyra under the moon's glow, their proximity grew intimate. Her fingers traced his jaw, marveling at his stubble. "You're different, Jax, not like the stories of brutish males." He pulled her closer, their lips nearly touching. "And you're more than a warrior, Lyra. There's fire in you, and maybe a little spark for a lost human." The tension built, a mix of danger and desire, as the galaxy's deadliest females began to see him not as an intruder, but as a hero in the making. Little did they know, the real peril was just beginning. The tension built, a mix of danger and desire, as the galaxy's deadliest females began to see him not as an intruder, but as a hero in the making. Little did they know, the real peril was just beginning. That very night, as the dual moons of Zarathia climbed higher, casting silvery beams through the Academy's translucent domes, Jax found himself unable to sleep. The holding cell had been upgraded, courtesy of Mira's grudging approval, to a sparse but comfortable quarters in the guest wing, a place rarely used except for visiting dignitaries from allied worlds. The walls hummed softly with embedded tech, projecting faint holographic stars that mimicked the night sky of distant planets. It was meant to soothe, but for Jax, it only amplified the thrill pulsing through his veins. He paced the room, his mind replaying the day's events, the beast's roar, Lyra's grateful touch, the whispers of conspiracy. What was this core destabilizer he'd overheard? A weapon, sure, but for what purpose? His thoughts were interrupted by a soft chime at the door. Before he could respond, it slid open with a whisper, revealing Lyra standing there, her silhouette framed by the corridor's dim glow. She had changed out of her combat suit into something more relaxed, a flowing robe of shimmering silk that clung to her curves like a second skin, the fabric translucent in places, hinting at the elegant lines of her body beneath. Her white hair fell loose over her shoulders, and those pointed ears of hers quivered slightly, as if attuned to his quickening heartbeat. Couldn't sleep either? Jax asked, his voice low, that grin creeping back despite the late hour. He leaned against the wall, trying to play it cool, but her presence filled the room like a charged storm. Lyra stepped inside, the door sealing behind her with a soft click. Her violet eyes locked onto his, a mix of wariness and something deeper, more primal. Your actions today, they unsettle me, Jax, a human saving one of us. It's not how things are supposed to be. She moved closer, her scent enveloping him again, that intoxicating blend of wildflowers and stardust, now laced with a subtle warmth that made his pulse race. In the academy, emotions were weapons to be controlled, but here, in this private space, the rules seemed to bend. He chuckled softly, stepping toward her, closing the gap until they were mere inches apart. Unsettle you? Good, means I'm doing something right. His hand reached out, hesitating for a moment before gently tucking a strand of her hair behind one of those delicate ears. The touch was electric. Her skin was cool and smooth, like polished marble, yet it warmed under his fingers. She didn't pull away. Instead, her breath hitched, her chest rising and falling in a rhythm that mirrored his own growing desire. You have no idea what you've stepped into, she murmured, her voice a husky whisper that sent shivers down his spine. Her hand came up to rest on his chest, feeling the steady thump of his human heart, faster than hers, more insistent. The academy isn't just a school, it's a web of alliances, rivalries, and secrets that could burn worlds. As she spoke, her fingers traced lazy patterns over his shirt, exploring the unfamiliar contours of his build. Humans were softer in some ways, yet resilient, and she found herself fascinated by the warmth radiating from him. Jax's grin softened into something more intimate, his eyes darkening with intent. Then tell me, let me in. He pulled her closer, his arm slipping around her waist, feeling the firmness of her body against his. She was taller than most human women, her form a perfect blend of strength and grace, those curves pressing against him in a way that ignited every nerve. The robe's fabric was thin, allowing him to feel the heat building between them, a silent promise of what might come. Lyra's lips parted, her pointed ears flushing a faint pink, a sign of arousal in her species, though Jax didn't know it yet. She leaned in, her breath mingling with his. There's a faction here, led by Vexa. They seek to activate an ancient relic buried beneath the academy, the core destabilizer. It could warp reality itself, bend gravity to shatter fleets. But why now? And how do I know you're not part of it? Her words were laced with suspicion, but her body betrayed her, arching slightly into his touch as his hand slid down her back. Tracing the elegant dip of her spine, he tilted his head, his lips brushing her ear in a featherlight tease. Because if I were, I wouldn't be here, risking everything for a smile from you. The words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken longing. She gasped softly as he nuzzled her neck, his stubble grazing her sensitive skin, sending sparks through her. In her world, males were distant figures from other clans, courted through rituals of combat. But this human? He was direct, playful, his touch igniting sensations she'd only read about in forbidden archives. Their kiss started tentative, a brush of lips that exploded into something fiercer. Lyra's hands roamed over him, pulling at his shirt, her nails, sharp but careful, scraping lightly against his skin. She tasted like exotic spices, her tongue exploring with a curiosity that matched her warrior spirit. Jax responded in kind, his hands cupping her face, then sliding down to her hips, pulling her flush against him. The robe slipped slightly, revealing more of her porcelain skin, glowing faintly in the holographic light. He broke the kiss to trail his lips along her collarbone, eliciting a soft moan from her, a sound that echoed through the room like music. But even in this haze of desire, suspense lingered. As they tumbled onto the narrow bed, bodies entwining in a dance of discovery, a distant alarm flickered in Jax's mind. He'd seen Vex's eyes on him earlier, not with intrigue, but with calculation. What if this was a trap? Lyra's fingers deftly unfastened his belt, her movements urgent yet graceful, her white hair spilling over them like a cascade of moonlight. "Jax," she whispered, her voice trembling with need. "Show me what humans do in moments like this." He obliged, his touches gentle at first, then bolder, exploring the contours of her body, the swell of her breasts, the taut muscles of her abdomen, the way her thighs parted invitingly. She was responsive, her pointed ears twitching with every caress, her skin flushing deeper as pleasure built. The air grew thick with their shared breaths, the room's hum fading into the background. Yet, outside, shadows moved. Unbeknownst to them, Zara patrolled the halls, her own curiosity piqued by the human's charm. She paused near the door, hearing the muffled sounds, a mix of envy and concern twisting in her gut. As Jax and Lyra lost themselves in each other, the conspiracy simmered. Vexa, in her own quarters, pored over holographic schematics, her curvaceous form draped in a similar robe, but her mind sharp as a blade. "The human complicates things," she muttered to her accomplice, Nara, whose eyes gleamed with mischief. "But perhaps we can use him? Or eliminate him." Their plan involved infiltrating the Academy's core during the upcoming lunar alignment, when defenses would weaken. Little did they know, Jax's outsider ears had already caught wind, and now, in the throes of passion, he pieced together fragments from Lyra's whispered confessions. Lyra arched beneath him, her moans growing softer, more intimate, as they moved together in a rhythm that transcended species. Her hands gripped his shoulders, nails digging in just enough to heighten the sensation without pain. "You're impossible," she breathed, her violet eyes locking onto his, filled with a vulnerability she'd never shown. Jax smiled down at her, his body responding to every shift, every sigh. That's the human way, turn the impossible into something real. But the night wasn't without its interruptions. A subtle vibration rippled through the floor, a test quake from the Academy's simulation generators, or something more sinister. Jax paused, his senses sharpening even as desire clouded them. Lyra noticed, pulling him back with an insistent tug. "Don't stop," she urged, her legs wrapping around him, drawing him deeper into their shared world. The moment stretched, suspense building like a coiled spring, every touch laced with the thrill of the unknown. As dawn approached, their bodies slick with exertion, they lay tangled in the sheets, hearts slowing to a synchronized beat. Lyra traced patterns on his chest, her pointed ears still flushed. "This changes everything, Jax, if the council finds out." He silenced her with a kiss, soft and reassuring. "Then we'll face it together. But first, tell me more about this relic. How do we stop it?" Her expression darkened, the erotic haze giving way to the looming threat. She began to explain, her voice a sultry murmur against his skin, detailing the ancient tech buried deep below, a device capable of unraveling star systems if mishandled. As she spoke, Jax's mind raced, his human ingenuity sparking ideas. But outside, footsteps echoed faintly, someone approaching. The door chimed again, this time insistently. Lyra tensed, slipping from the bed with feline grace, her robe hastily retied, though it did little to hide the glow on her skin. It was Mira, the headmistress, her silver hair impeccable, eyes sharp. "Cadet Lyra, report to the arena, and you, human, training begins at first light. Prove you're more than a distraction." Her gaze lingered on them, suspicion flickering, but she said nothing more, turning away with a swish of her elegant gown. Jax watched Lyra go, her hips swaying with that predatory elegance, a secret smile playing on her lips just for him. Alone again, he dressed, the memory of her touch lingering like a promise. The conspiracy was closing in, Vex's plot thickening, but so was the bond he'd forged. Desire and danger intertwined, pulling him deeper into the Academy's web. As he stepped into the corridor, ready for whatever came next, his grin returned, wider, more defiant. The game was on, and humans played to win. The morning brought new trials, but the night had changed him. Whispers followed Jax through the halls, cadets like Sora and Luna stealing glances, their white-haired forms clustered in groups, murmuring about the male who had tamed Lyra's fire. Zara approached him during breakfast, her body language a mix of challenge and flirtation, her suit hugging her ample curves. "Heard you had a visitor last night," she teased, her pointed ears perking up. "Care to share your secrets, human?" Jax laughed, leaning in close enough to make her breath catch. "Secrets are for earning, Zara. Stick around and maybe you'll find out." The air crackled with potential, erotic undertones weaving through every interaction, but beneath it, the suspense mounted. Vex's eyes watched from afar, her plan accelerating. A hidden message blinked on Jax's borrowed communicator. "Meet me at the core access tonight. Come alone." His heart skipped. Trap or opportunity? As he pondered, Lyra brushed past him in the hall, her hand grazing his discreetly, a spark reigniting the night's flames. "Be careful," she whispered, her voice laced with worry and want. The day dragged on with simulations, dodging laser grids, outwitting AI predators, but Jax's mind was elsewhere, plotting his next move. By evening, as shadows lengthened, he slipped away, following the coordinates. The core access was a labyrinth of glowing conduits and humming machinery, the air thick with energy that made his skin tingle. Waiting there was Vexa, her form illuminated by the pulsing lights. Her robe opened just enough to reveal the tantalizing swell of her breasts, a deliberate distraction. "You've been busy, human," she purred, stepping closer, her scent different from Lyra's, spicier, more intoxicating. "But I have an offer. Join us, and you'll have power, pleasures beyond your wildest dreams." Her hand reached out, trailing down his arm, nails grazing in a way that promised ecstasy. Jax felt the pull, the erotic lure designed to ensnare, but his grin held firm. "Tempting," he admitted, his voice steady despite the rush. "But I prefer my pleasures earned, not bought." He stepped back, but not before noticing the hidden device in her palm, a neural disruptor, ready to strike. The confrontation escalated, Vexa lunging with surprising speed, her body twisting in midair like a dancer of death. Jax dodged, using the environment, grabbing a loose cable to swing away, his human agility turning the tide. She pressed him against a console, her curves molding to him in a mock embrace, whispering temptations even as she aimed to subdue. "You could have it all," she breathed, her lips inches from his, but Jax twisted free, his wit sharper than any blade. He activated a nearby panel, flooding the area with disorienting lights that blinded her momentarily. As she staggered, he restrained her with a makeshift bind from the cable, his touch firm but not cruel. "Sorry, Vexa, not my style." Panting, he secured her and alerted Lyra via the communicator. As reinforcements arrived, the erotic tension dissolved into action, but the night's events left an indelible mark. Vex's capture revealed partial plans. The destabilizer was set for activation during the Academy's grand trial tomorrow. Jax and Lyra shared a stolen moment amid the chaos, her body pressing against his ingratitude, promising more when the dust settled. Yet, as they parted, a new shadow emerged. Nara, Vex's accomplice, escaped into the vents, her laughter echoing faintly. The peril deepened, desire fueling their resolve. Jax retired to his quarters, body aching from the fight and the lingering echoes of passion, knowing tomorrow would test them all. Yet, as they parted, a new shadow emerged. Nara, Vex's accomplice, escaped into the vents, her laughter echoing faintly. The peril deepened, desire fueling their resolve. Jax retired to his quarters, body aching from the fight and the lingering echoes of passion, knowing tomorrow would test them all. But sleep evaded him like an elusive comet, his mind a whirlwind of strategies and stolen glances. The grand trial loomed at dawn, a ritualistic gauntlet where cadets faced the Academy's most harrowing simulations, designed to cull the weak and crown the survivors. It was no mere exercise. Whispers among the halls spoke of real stakes this time, with the core destabilizer's activation tied to the event's climax. If Nara succeeded in her sabotage, the entire planet could fracture, sending shockwaves across the galaxy. As the first hints of Zarathia's stormy sunrise pierced the domes, Jax rose, his muscles protesting but his spirit unbroken. He donned a borrowed training suit, its fabric adapting to his human frame with a snug embrace that felt almost alive, pulsing with faint energy fields. The material was sleek, black with silver veins that glowed subtly, molding to his lean build in a way that accentuated his broad shoulders and the subtle strength honed from years of colony labor. He caught his reflection in the polished wall, disheveled hair. That ever-present grin now edged with determination, and felt a surge of adrenaline. Humans weren't built for this cosmic arena, but that's what made them dangerous, the underdogs who rewrote the rules. The arena buzzed with anticipation as cadets assembled, their white-haired forms a sea of ethereal beauty under the artificial lights. Lyra stood at the forefront, her violet eyes scanning the crowd until they locked on Jax. She nodded subtly, a silent vow amidst the chaos. Her robe from the night before replaced by her combat attire, a form-fitting ensemble that hugged her curves like a lover's caress, the fabric shimmering with protective nanites. Beside her, Zara adjusted her stance, her pointed ears flicking with nervous energy, while Sora and Luna whispered strategies, their bodies poised like coiled springs. Mira oversaw from an elevated platform, her silver hair flowing like a banner of authority. But Jax noticed the subtle tension in her posture. She knew more than she let on. The trial commenced with a deafening horn, the arena transforming into a labyrinth of shifting holograms and real hazards. Walls erupted from the floor, illusions of void beasts materialized, and gravity wells pulled at the unwary. Survive the convergence, Mira's voice boomed, and claim your place among the stars. The cadets charged in, lasers firing, bodies leaping with superhuman grace. Jax dove into the fray, his lack of enhancements a handicap he turned into an advantage, unpredictable, human moves that baffled the AI predictors. Thrills mounted as he navigated a chasm of swirling energy, his heart pounding like a war drum. Lyra fought nearby, her movements a ballet of destruction, slicing through a holographic serpent with precision. But then, curiosity spiked when Jax spotted an anomaly, a flicker in the arena's grid, a hidden access point glowing unnaturally. "That's not part of the sim," he muttered, his mind racing. Drawn by an inexplicable pull, he veered off course, dodging a blast from a rival cadet named Kale, whose fierce glare promised retribution. The anomaly led to a concealed tunnel, the air growing colder, thicker with the hum of forbidden machinery. Surprise hit like a plasma bolt. This was the path to the core destabilizer, unguarded during the trial's distraction. Nara was there, her curvaceous form bent over a console, white hair disheveled, her suit torn from her escape. She whirled around, eyes widening in shock. "You!" The grinning fool persists. Her voice dripped with venom, but there was a curious undertone, as if his tenacity intrigued her despite herself. Jax raised his hands, feigning nonchalance even as his pulse thundered. "Nara, right? Look, whatever Vex has got you into, it's not worth shattering the galaxy. What's the end game here?" She laughed, a chilling sound that echoed off the metallic walls, her pointed ears flattening in aggression. But as she stepped closer, her body language shifted, predatory, yet laced with an unexpected allure. Her suit clung to her ample figure, accentuating the sway of her hips, and in the dim light, her porcelain skin seemed to invite touch, a deliberate distraction honed from years of academy intrigue. "You're out of your depth, human," she purred, circling him like a shark. "This relic isn't destruction, it's liberation. From the Council's chains, from weak alliances, join me and you'll taste power, and more." Her hand brushed his arm, nails trailing lightly, sending an unwelcome thrill through him. It was thrilling, this dance on the edge, curiosity about her motives clashing with the drama of betrayal, but Jax shook it off, his grin masking the storm inside. "Temptation's your weapon, huh? But I've got something better, truth." The confrontation exploded into drama. Nara lunged, her speed blinding, but Jax anticipated, using the tunnel's low gravity to flip over her, landing a precise strike to her side. She gasped, staggering, but countered with an energy whip that crackled against his suit, searing pain through his ribs. The fight was visceral, thrilling in its intensity, fists meeting flesh, bodies colliding in a tangle of limbs and heated breaths. He grabbed her wrist, twisting her arm behind her, their faces inches apart. "Why, Nara, who's pulling your strings?" Her violet eyes, so like Lyra's yet colder, flickered with surprise. "You think it's just us?" "The headmistress. Mira, she's the architect. This trial is her cover to activate it herself, to seize control of the galaxy's fleets." The revelation hit like a supernova, curious threads unraveling into a surprising web. Mira, the stoic guardian? Jax's mind reeled, dramatic betrayal shaking his core. But no time to process, alarms blared, the tunnel shaking as the arena's chaos spilled in. Lyra burst through a side vent, her form a vision of fierce beauty, hair whipping wildly. "Jax!" she cried, eyes widening at the scene. Zara followed, laser raised, but hesitated at Nara's bound form. The climax surged as the core destabilizer hummed to life, its ancient core pulsing with ominous light, a massive orb of swirling plasma, capable of bending spacetime. Mira's voice echoed through hidden speakers. "Fools! The human was the catalyst I needed." Surprise layered upon thrill, Mira descended via a hidden lift, her silver hair aglow, flanked by loyalists like Nara and Alen, their curvaceous figures armed and ready. "With the destabilizer, I'll reshape the stars, and you, Jax, your chaos provided the perfect diversion." Drama peaked in the ensuing battle, thrilling clashes filling the chamber. Lyra leaped at Mira, their duel a symphony of grace and fury, blades clashing, energy sparks flying. Jax freed himself from Nara's weakening grip, diving for the console. Zara covered him, her shots precise, her pointed ears twitching at every sound. "For a human, you're not half bad," she shouted over the din, a surprising spark of admiration in her eyes amidst the chaos. Jax's fingers flew over the alien interface, his human ingenuity piecing together overrides from fragmented knowledge, but Mira pressed her attack, a force field slamming Lyra against the wall. "You dare challenge me?" The headmistress roared, her elegant form twisting with rage. Curiosity burned. What drove her? Power? Revenge? Jax yelled, "Mira, this ends now." He activated a partial shutdown, the orb flickering, but it backfired. A surge of energy rippled out, warping gravity, pulling everyone toward the core. Thrilling suspense gripped them as bodies floated, weapons firing wildly. Lyra reached for Jax, their hands clasping in midair, her touch a anchor amid the storm. "Together," she whispered, violet eyes fierce with love and fear. Surprise struck again when Nara, unbound in the chaos, hesitated, then fired at Mira's loyalists. "I won't die for her lies," she growled, a curious redemption sparking in her gaze. The chamber trembled, dramatic explosions rocking the foundations. Jax, with Lyra's help, inputted the final code, his mind flashing through memories of Earth, of simple joys that fueled his resolve. The core stabilized, its hum dying to a whisper. Mira lunged one last time, but Zara's shot disarmed her, the headmistress collapsing in defeat. "You, a mere human?" she gasped, surprise etching her features. Panting, the group floated down as gravity normalized, bodies entwined in exhaustion and triumph. Lyra pulled Jax close, her curves pressing against him in an embrace that blended relief and lingering desire. "You did it," she breathed, lips brushing his ear. But curiosity lingered. What other secrets hid in the Academy's depths? And with Mira captured, who else knew of her plot? As reinforcements arrived, loyal cadets like Ori and Luna securing the scene, the thrill ebbed, leaving a dramatic afterglow. Jax grinned through the pain, his human heart swelling with pride. He'd turned the tide, but surprises awaited. Nara's defection hinted at deeper alliances, and Lyra's gaze promised explorations beyond battle. The galaxy watched, unaware how one grinning human had shifted its fate. Yet, in the quiet aftermath, a new thrill stirred. As they escorted Mira away, a hidden panel hissed open, revealing a holographic message from an unknown sender. The destabilizer was but a piece. The true threat awakens. Curiosity ignited anew, surprising twists promising more drama. Jax exchanged glances with Lyra, her hand squeezing his partners in peril, lovers in the stars. The day wore on with interrogations, but the bond between them deepened. That evening, in a secluded alcove overlooking Zarathia's storms, Lyra leaned into him, her white hair mingling with his. "You surprise me at every turn, Jax." Her fingers traced his jaw, igniting sparks. He pulled her closer, the thrill of survival fueling a passionate kiss, bodies aligning in a dance of promise. Zara watched from afar, a curious smile playing on her lips, hinting at future entanglements. But the message lingered, a thrilling shadow over their victory. What true threat loomed? The Academy, once a danger zone, now felt like home, a crucible where human wit conquered alien might. Jax's grin widened. The adventure was far from over. Jax's grin widened. The adventure was far from over. As the storm clouds swirled outside the alcove's viewport, painting the sky in strokes of electric blue and violent purple, he felt the weight of the holographic message pressing on his mind like an unseen gravity well. Who had sent it? And what did the true threat awakens even mean in a place already brimming with ancient relics and backstabbing intrigue? Lyra pulled back from their kiss, her violet eyes searching his face. Those pointed ears of hers still flushed from the heat of the moment. "You're thinking about it again?" she said softly, her voice a melodic contrast to the thunder rumbling beyond the dome. Her hand lingered on his chest, feeling the steady rhythm of his heart, a beat that seemed to sync with the planet's wild pulses. He nodded, trying to shake off the unease with his trademark humor. "Can't help it. Back home, mysterious messages usually mean I've got spam in my inbox or my neighbors complaining about my drone deliveries. Here, probably means the end of the universe as we know it." Lyra tilted her head, her white hair cascading like a waterfall of silk, confusion etching her flawless features. "Spam? Drone? Your human words are like puzzles wrapped in riddles." Jax chuckled, pulling her closer again, his arm wrapping around her waist with a familiarity that sent a warm thrill through both of them. Remind me to explain over a proper Earth-style pizza sometime, assuming we don't get vaporized first. Their light moment was interrupted by the soft patter of footsteps echoing down the corridor. Zara emerged from the shadows, her curvaceous form silhouetted against the flickering storm lights, her suit still bearing the scuffs from the earlier battle. She cleared her throat awkwardly, her pointed ears twitching as she caught the tail end of their embrace. "Am I interrupting something?" she asked, her tone a mix of genuine curiosity and a hint of something sharper, jealousy, perhaps. Jax released Lyra just a tad too quickly, stumbling over his words in a way that made the situation even more comically uncomfortable. No, just, debriefing about the stuff, the exploding stuff." Lyra shot him a sideways glance, her lips quirking in amusement despite the flush creeping up her neck. Zara crossed her arms, her ample chest rising with a dramatic sigh that heightened the tension in the air. "Debriefing? Right, because nothing says strategic discussion like tangled limbs in a storm alcove." There was a playful edge to her voice, but her violet eyes, so similar to Lyra's yet fiercer, darted between them, amplifying the awkwardness. Jax rubbed the back of his neck, grinning sheepishly. "Hey, in human culture, it's called multitasking. Saves time." The three of them stood there for a beat, the storm's roar filling the silence, until Zara let out a reluctant laugh, breaking the ice. "You humans are absurd, but effective, I'll give you that." As they moved inside to escape the intensifying weather, the drama escalated when an urgent summons chimed on their communicators. It was from the Interim Council, a hastily assembled group of senior cadets like Sora and Luna, stepping in after Mira's arrest. All key personnel to the command chamber. New intelligence on the destabilizer incident. Jax exchanged glances with Lyra and Zara, the humor fading into a knot of suspense. "Guess pizza's off the menu," he quipped, but his voice carried an undercurrent of worry. They hurried through the academy's winding halls, the architecture shifting subtly underfoot as if the building itself sensed the mounting peril. The command chamber was a cavernous room dominated by a holographic table projecting star maps and data streams, bathed in a cool blue glow that made everyone's white hair shimmer like ghosts. Sora, with her lithe, gowned figure leaning over the display, looked up as they entered. Her pointed ears perked forward, and her eyes widened at Jax. The human hero arrives, and with escorts no less. Luna, standing beside her, smirked, her curvaceous form draped in a flowing robe that did little to hide her allure. "Escorts? Looks more like a personal guard. Careful, Jax, these two might fight over who gets to debrief you next." The room erupted in light chuckles from the gathered cadets, but Lyra's cheeks flushed a deeper blue, and Zara shot Luna a glare that could melt steel. Jax, caught in the crossfire, raised his hands in mock surrender. "Ladies, please, there's enough of me to go around." Wait. That came out wrong. The awkward humor hung in the air, diffusing some tension but heightening the drama of their intertwined relationships. Sora cleared her throat, steering them back to business, though her lips twitched with suppressed amusement. "Focus, the message you intercepted. Jax, it's not from within the academy. Our scans trace it to a rogue signal from Nethuria's outer rim." The hologram zoomed in on a distant nebula, swirling with ominous reds. Nethuria, a shadowy ally world to Zarathia, was known for its labyrinthine politics and hidden fleets. But why warn us? Zara mused, leaning in closer to Jax than necessary, her shoulder brushing his in a way that sent a spark through him and earned a subtle eye roll from Lyra. "Unless it's a trap," Lyra added, her voice laced with drama, her hand instinctively reaching for Jax's under the table, a possessive gesture that didn't go unnoticed. The discussion heated up, voices overlapping in a crescendo of speculation. Jax, ever the outsider with fresh eyes, pointed out an anomaly in the data stream, a subtle code embedded in the message that resembled Earth encryption patterns he'd tinkered with as a kid. "This isn't just a warning, it's coordinates, hidden in the static." He manipulated the hologram with surprising deftness, his fingers dancing over the controls. The map resolved into a pinpoint on an asteroid field bordering Nethuria. A meeting point? Or an ambush site? The room fell silent, the drama peaking as realization dawned. If they ignored it, the true threat could escalate unchecked. If they pursued, they risked everything. To heighten the stakes, an alarm blared mid-debate, a perimeter breach. Holographic feeds showed shadowy figures infiltrating the Academy's outer defenses, cloaked in stealth tech that shimmered like oil on water. "Nethurian assassins," Luna hissed, her elegant poise cracking into urgency. Chaos erupted as the council scrambled, but Jax's mind raced ahead. They are after the destabilizer remnants, we have to secure the core. He bolted from the room, Lyra and Zara hot on his heels, their trio forming an impromptu strike team. The awkwardness from earlier lingered, manifesting in hurried quips amid the drama. If we survive this, Zara panted as they ran, you owe me a proper debriefing, human. Lyra shot her a look. Get in line. Jax laughed breathlessly. Flattered, but let's not die first. The core chamber was a war zone by the time they arrived, assassins in sleek, form-fitting suits clashing with academy guards. These intruders were all female, like the cadets, but with darker, iridescent skin and hair streaked in midnight blues, their bodies moving with lethal precision. One lunged at Jax, her curves a blur as she wielded a vibrating blade. He dodged clumsily, tripping over a loose conduit in a moment of pure awkward comedy. Whoa, easy there, buy a guy dinner first. The assassin paused, confused by his banter, giving Lyra time to disarm her with a swift kick. Zara covered their flank, her laser firing in controlled bursts, but not before an assassin grazed her arm, drawing a hiss of pain. Drama intensified as the leader of the intruders, a towering figure named Tiva, with hair like flowing obsidian and eyes glowing amber, revealed herself. The relic's power belongs to Nethuria. Hand it over, or Zarathia falls. Her voice was a sultry growl, her suit hugging her voluptuous form in a distracting manner that even Jax couldn't ignore. But humor crept in when Jax, scrambling to his feet, quipped, Lady, if you're here for takeout, the cafeteria's that way. Try the synth meat, it's killer. Tiva's pointed ears, longer and more pronounced than the cadets', twitched in bewilderment. What is this? Jesting? In battle? Her confusion bought them precious seconds. Lyra and Zara fought back-to-back with Jax, their synergy a blend of grace and grit. Lyra's movements were fluid, her white hair whipping as she parried blows, while Zara's were powerful, her curves shifting with each strike. Jax improvised, using a fallen assassin's cloak to entangle another, turning the fight into a slapstick tangle. Gotcha! Human knot tying 101? The awkward hilarity undercut the danger, but the drama surged when Tiva cornered Jax against the destabilizer's shattered housing. You, the grinning interloper, your meddling ends here. Her blade pressed close, her body heat radiating through the suit, creating an uncomfortably intimate standoff. In a thrilling twist, Nara, redeemed from earlier, burst in with reinforcements, her entrance dramatic as she flipped over a guardrail. Not on my watch. She tackled Tiva, their bodies colliding in a heap of limbs and curses. The room devolved into a frenzy, lasers zipping, bodies grappling. Jax seized the moment, hacking into the chamber's defenses with his communicator, flooding the area with non-lethal stun waves. Assassins dropped like dominoes, but not before Tiva whispered a chilling revelation in her defeat. The message? It was from our queen. She awakens the ancient fleet. Zarathia is but the first domino. The aftermath was a whirlwind of awkward relief. As the intruders were bound, Jax helped Zara bind her wound, their proximity reigniting sparks. Ouch, easy, hero, she teased, her hand lingering on his. Lyra watched, her expression a mix of amusement and mild jealousy, heightening the romantic drama. If you're done playing medic, she said dryly, we need to decode those coordinates. Jax grinned, diffusing the tension. Jealous, don't worry, I've got enough charm for everyone. But seriously, pizza after this? Back in the command chamber, the group pored over the data. Humor laced through their exhaustion. Zara joked about Jax starting a human charm academy, while Luna suggested he teach a class on awkward battle banter. But the drama loomed larger. The coordinates pointed to a hidden outpost on Nethuria's moon, where the true threat stirred. As they planned an infiltration mission, bonds strengthened amid the chaos. Jax stole a moment with Lyra, his kiss deep and reassuring, but Zara's knowing smile promised complications. Night fell with unresolved tension, the storm outside mirroring their inner turmoil. Jax lay in his quarters, mind buzzing, when a soft knock came. It was Zara, bandaged but determined, slipping inside with a bottle of alien nectar. For the wound, she said, but her eyes said more. The awkwardness peaked as Lyra arrived moments later, catching them in mid-conversation. Group debrief, Jax stammered, eliciting laughs all around. The trio shared the nectar, humor turning the situation into an unexpected alliance, desires simmering beneath the surface. Yet, as laughter faded, the holographic message replayed in Jax's thoughts, its warning echoing. The true threat awaited, drama building like the gathering storm. With allies like these, beautiful, deadly, and delightfully complicated, Jax felt ready, his human heart pounding with anticipation. Yet, as laughter faded. The holographic message replayed in Jax's thoughts, its warning echoing. The true threat awaited, drama building like the gathering storm, with allies like these, beautiful, deadly, and delightfully complicated. Jax felt ready, his human heart pounding with anticipation. The nectar's warmth lingered in his veins, a subtle buzz that heightened every sensation in the dimly lit quarters. Zara lounged on the edge of the bed, her bandaged arm resting casually, while Lyra stood by the viewport, her silhouette framed by the raging tempest outside. The air between them crackled with unspoken possibilities, the earlier awkwardness evolving into something deeper, more inviting. Jax set his glass down, his eyes drifting between the two women who had become so integral to his survival, and now, perhaps, to something more personal. Lyra turned, her violet eyes reflecting the lightning flashes, a soft smile playing on her lips. "The storm reminds me of you," Jax, unpredictable, full of energy. She stepped closer, her white hair swaying gently, the robe she wore loosely tied, hinting at the graceful curves beneath. Zara watched with a raised eyebrow, her own robe slipping slightly off one shoulder, revealing the smooth expanse of her porcelain skin. "And what about me?" she teased, her voice low and inviting, laced with that fierce playfulness. Jax felt the pull, a magnetic draw that made his pulse quicken. These alien women, with their ethereal beauty and warrior spirits, had awakened desires he hadn't anticipated in this far-flung corner of the galaxy. He stood, closing the distance to Lyra first, his hand gently cupping her cheek. "You're the calm in the chaos," he murmured, leaning in to kiss her softly at first, then deeper, their lips meeting in a familiar rhythm that spoke of the nights they'd shared. Her body pressed against his, warm and yielding, her pointed ears brushing his hair as she sighed into the kiss. Zara rose slowly, joining them without a word, her fingers trailing lightly down Jax's back, sending shivers through him. The moment shifted, the three of them drawn together by the intensity of their shared ordeals, the bonds forged in battle now seeking expression in tenderness. Lyra broke the kiss, her breath coming in soft gasps, and turned to Zara, their hands intertwining as they pulled Jax between them. It was a dance of exploration, clothes slipping away in the soft glow of the room's lights, revealing bodies sculpted by different worlds yet harmonizing in this intimate space. Jax marveled at their similarities and differences, the cool smoothness of their skin against his warmer touch, the way their curves fit perfectly in his embrace. Zara's lips found his neck, her kisses light and teasing, while Lyra's hands roamed over his chest, tracing the lines of his muscles with a curiosity that made him feel desired in ways he'd never imagined. They moved to the bed, a tangle of limbs and whispered affections, the storm outside mirroring the building passion within. Jax lay back, pulling them close, his hands exploring the soft swells and firm contours that made each of them unique. Lyra's touch was gentle, almost reverent, her violet eyes locking onto his as she leaned over him, her white hair cascading like a veil. Zara, bolder, guided his hands to her, her moans soft and encouraging, her body arching in response to his caresses. The air grew heavy with their shared warmth, scents mingling, Lyra's floral essence with Zara's spicier notes, creating an intoxicating blend that enveloped Jax. In this moment, the galaxy's threats faded, replaced by the simple, profound connection of bodies and hearts. Jax kissed Zara deeply, tasting the nectar on her lips, while Lyra's fingers intertwined with his, grounding him in the whirlwind of sensations. They moved together in harmony, rhythms syncing as desires built, each touch a promise of trust and affection. Soft sighs and gentle laughter filled the room, Zara chuckling when Jax's stubble tickled her sensitive skin, Lyra whispering endearments in her native tongue that he didn't understand but felt in his soul. The experience was one of mutual discovery, where strength met vulnerability, and the lines between allies, friends, and lovers blurred into something beautiful. As passions crested, they held each other close, bodies trembling in unison, waves of pleasure washing over them like the storm's rain against the dome. It was tender, intense, a celebration of life amid the dangers they'd faced. Afterward, they lay entwined, breath slowing, skin glistening in the afterglow. Lyra nestled against Jax's side, her head on his shoulder, while Zara draped an arm over them both, her pointed ears twitching contentedly. "Humans," Zara murmured sleepily, "you bring such unexpected joys." Jax smiled, his fingers tracing lazy patterns on their backs, feeling a profound sense of belonging. "And you too make the stars seem a little less lonely." But even in this serene aftermath, the holographic message shadow lingered subtly, a reminder that their intimacy was a brief respite. As they drifted toward sleep, Jax's mind wandered to the coordinates on Nethuria's moon, wondering what awaited. Yet, with Lyra and Zara by his side, the future felt less daunting. Morning came too soon, the storm abating to reveal a hazy dawn filtering through the viewport. They rose reluctantly, sharing soft kisses and lingering touches as they dressed, the bond between them strengthened by the night's closeness. In the command chamber, the group reconvened, Sora and Luna greeting them with knowing smiles that hinted at rumors already spreading through the academy. "Rested well?" Luna asked innocently, her curvaceous form leaning against the holographic table. Jax grinned, unfazed, like a baby in a warp cradle. The planning resumed, but the dynamic had shifted. The trio's connection added a layer of unspoken unity to their strategies. They decided on a small infiltration team, Jax, Lyra, Zara, and Nara, whose redemption had earned her a tentative trust. "We'll slip in under the radar," Jax suggested, his human perspective offering clever hacks to their tech. "Pose as traders from a neutral world, I've got the charm for it." Preparations buzzed with energy, but intimate moments stole through the day. During a gear check, Lyra pulled Jax aside, her hands on his hips as she adjusted his suit, her touch lingering. "Last night, it was more than I expected," she confessed, her violet eyes soft. He kissed her forehead. "For me too, we're in this together, all of us." Zara joined them, her bandaged arm healed enough for action, and the three shared a quiet embrace, desires simmering beneath the surface, fueling their resolve. As the shuttle prepped for launch, drama stirred anew. An encrypted signal intercepted from Nethuria confirmed the awakening threat, an ancient fleet of dormant warships, powered by relics similar to the destabilizer, poised to conquer under a mysterious queen's command. "She's Mira's sister," Nara revealed, her voice tense. "Exiled long ago, now seeking revenge." The revelation heightened the stakes, but Jax's grin held firm. Family drama on a galactic scale? Sounds like a human holiday reunion. "Let's crash the party." The shuttle lifted off, slicing through Zarathia's atmosphere. The team settled in for the jump to hyperspace. In the close quarters, tensions eased into companionship, with stolen glances and gentle touches reminding them of their deeper connections. Lyra and Zara flanked Jax, their bodies warm against his in the acceleration couches, a silent promise of support and more amid the stars. Hyperspace enveloped them in swirling lights, the journey a brief interlude of reflection. Jax thought of Earth, of simple pleasures now intertwined with this cosmic romance. "Ever think about what comes after?" he asked softly. Lyra squeezed his hand. "With you, anything's possible." Zara leaned in, her lips brushing his ear. "And everything's exciting." Arrival at Nethuria's moon brought them to a barren, cratered landscape dotted with ancient ruins. They landed stealthily, cloaked in the shuttle's tech, emerging into the thin atmosphere suited up in environmental gear that hugged their forms. The outpost loomed, a massive structure half buried in dust, pulsing with faint energy signatures. "This is it," Jax whispered, leading the way, his heart racing not just from danger, but from the unbreakable bonds at his side. Inside, the air hummed with dormant power, corridors echoing their footsteps. They navigated traps, laser grids, and pressure plates with coordinated grace, Jax's improvisations saving them more than once. A close call in a collapsing hallway had them pressed together, breaths mingling through visors, desires flickering even in peril. "Too close," Zara panted, her hand on his chest plate. Lyra nodded, her eyes fierce. "But we're stronger together." Deeper in, they discovered the Queen's chamber, a throne room alive with holograms of awakening ships. The Queen, Rixa, Mira's mirror image but with hair streaked in gold, turned, her voluptuous form regal in flowing robes. "Intruders, and the human who felled my sister." Her voice was silk over steel, her pointed ears adorned with jewels. Drama unfolded as she revealed her plan, to unite the galaxy under her rule, using the fleet to enforce peace by force if needed. "Join me," she offered, her gaze lingering on Jax with intriguing intensity. A human consort could bridge worlds. Jax laughed softly, diffusing the tension. "Flattering, but I'm taken." The rejection sparked fury, Rixa summoning guards, elite warriors like her, bodies toned and alluring in battle attire. The fight was intense, bodies clashing in a ballet of combat and evasion. Lyra and Zara fought fiercely, their movements protective around Jax, while Nara redeemed herself further by disabling a control panel, halting the fleet's full activation. In the melee, Jax confronted Rixa, dodging her energy blasts, his suit sparking from near misses. "This ends without more blood," he urged, human empathy shining through. She hesitated, surprise in her eyes, but lunged anyway. A well-timed grapple from Zara subdued her. The queen bound as the team secured the chamber. Victory brought relief, but intimacy followed in the shuttle's return. Exhausted yet exhilarated, they shed their suits, collapsing into each other's arms. The journey home was filled with tender moments, kisses shared, bodies entwined in the dim cabin light, celebrating their triumph in ways that deepened their connections. Lyra and Zara took turns, their affections overlapping in a harmonious blend, Jax at the center of their world. Back on Zarathia, the Academy hailed them as heroes, the threat neutralized, alliances forged anew. But for Jax, the real reward was the love blooming amidst the stars, a human heart entwined with alien souls, promising endless adventures. Back on Zarathia, the Academy hailed them as heroes, the threat neutralized, alliances forged anew. But for Jax, the real reward was the love blooming amidst the stars, a human heart entwined with alien souls, promising endless adventures. The celebrations that followed were a whirlwind of ethereal lights and melodic toasts. The Academy's grand hall transformed into a sea of flowing robes and shimmering decorations that caught the dual moon's glow. Cadets like Sora and Luna mingled with the team, their white-haired forms gliding through the crowd, pointed ears perked in excitement as they recounted the mission's highlights. Nara, now fully integrated after her pivotal role, stood at the periphery, her curvaceous silhouette drawing admiring glances, though her eyes often sought Jax with a mix of gratitude and lingering intrigue. Jax found himself at the center, flanked by Lyra and Zara, their hands occasionally brushing his in subtle affirmations of the intimacy they'd shared. Lyra's violet eyes sparkled as she leaned into him, her robe a luxurious cascade of silver fabric that hugged her sensual curves, whispering against his side. "You've changed everything here," she murmured, her breath warm on his ear. Zara, on his other side, squeezed his arm, her own attire a deep indigo that accentuated her porcelain skin and the graceful swell of her hips. "And us," she added with a playful wink, her pointed ears flushing slightly at the memory of their shuttle return. The nectar flowed freely, its sweet tang loosening tongues and weaving stories of bravery into the night. Yet, amid the revelry, Jax felt a subtle undercurrent, a faint hum in his communicator, dismissed at first as residual static from the mission. He excused himself briefly, stepping into a quieter alcove overlooking the stormy plains, the same spot where so much had begun. The device vibrated again, this time displaying an encrypted fragment, a partial hologram flickering to life, showing coordinates not from Nethuria, but from Terra Nova, his home colony, his brow furrowed. Who could be reaching out from there? Before he could investigate, Lyra appeared, her presence a comforting distraction. "Escaping already?" she teased, slipping her arms around his waist from behind, her body molding perfectly to his. He turned, capturing her lips in a soft kiss, the taste of nectar lingering between them. "Just checking old mail, nothing important." The party continued into the wee hours, bonds deepening as stories turned personal. Zara pulled Jax onto a makeshift dance floor, her movements fluid and inviting, her white hair swirling like starlight as they swayed. "You dance like you fight, unpredictable." She laughed, her hands on his shoulders, fingers tracing the lines of his neck. Lyra joined them seamlessly, the three moving in a harmonious rhythm that drew envious whispers from onlookers. It was in these moments that Jax felt truly alive, his human resilience complemented by their alien grace, desires rekindling in stolen touches and heated glances. As the night wound down, they retreated to his quarters, the door sealing behind them with a soft hiss, promising another layer of closeness. Clothes fell away once more, the room filled with the soft glow of bioluminescent panels that cast flattering shadows over their forms. Lyra and Zara explored him with renewed curiosity, their cool skin warming under his touch, bodies entwining in a symphony of sighs and gentle caresses. Jax lost himself in the sensation, the way Lyra's curves yielded softly, her moans like music, while Zara's bolder strokes ignited sparks of pleasure. They moved together, rhythms building in gentle waves, each moment a testament to the trust they'd built. In the afterglow, tangled in sheets, Jax traced patterns on Lyra's back, her pointed ears twitching contentedly. "What if this is just the beginning?" he whispered. Zara propped herself up, her ample form glowing faintly. "With you, it always is." Morning brought a return to routine, but with a hero's privileges. Jax joined a strategy session in the command chamber, where the council, now led by Sora, reviewed the fleet's deactivation logs. "Rix's interrogation yields little," Sora reported, her lithe figure poised over the holograms, robe elegantly draped. She claims the awakening was inevitable, but we've secured the relics. Luna nodded, her curvaceous silhouette leaning in, and alliances with Nethuria strengthen. Your human insight was key, Jax. He grinned, downplaying it. Just lucky guesses. But as the meeting progressed, that hum returned, stronger now, his communicator buzzing insistently. Excusing himself, he slipped into an adjacent lab, activating the full message. The hologram bloomed fully this time, revealing a face he hadn't seen in years, his adoptive father, Elias from Terra Nova. The old man's features were lined with urgency, his voice crackling through the feed. Jax, if you're receiving this, the contingency activated. Your crash wasn't accidental. The warp storm was engineered. You're not just human, son. Your mother, she was from Zarathia, a cadet who fled during the old wars, seeking refuge on Earth. She hid you among us, but your blood carries their essence, the key to unlocking the true relic network. Jax's world tilted, his heart slamming against his ribs. Not human, the words echoed, a powerful twist unraveling everything he thought he knew. His grin faltered for the first time, replaced by wide-eyed shock. Flashes of childhood anomalies rushed back, unnatural resilience in accidents, an intuitive grasp of alien tech that he chalked up to luck. Elias continued, the hologram flickering with interference. The destabilizer, the fleet, they're decoys. The real threat is the Nexus core, buried in Zarathia's core, accessible only by hybrid blood like yours. Rixa and Mira were pawns in a larger game, manipulated by the Shadow Collective, a rogue faction spanning galaxies. They want you to activate it unwittingly, turning you into their weapon. Trust no one fully. Even allies may be compromised. Find the hidden vault in the Academy's underlevels. Your mother's amulet, the one I gave you, it's the key. The message cut off abruptly, leaving Jax staring at the empty air, his mind reeling from the surprise. Hybrid? The revelation hit like a supernova, explaining the effortless connections, the way Lyra and Zara's touches felt so right, as if his body resonated on their frequency. But doubt crept in. Who else knew? Had his relationships been influenced by this hidden heritage? He pocketed the communicator, forcing his grin back into place as he rejoined the group, but his eyes scanned them differently now. Sora's knowing smile, did it hide something? Luna's casual lean, a facade. The day unfolded with mounting tension, Jax navigating it on autopilot. During a training sim with Lyra, her body close as they sparred, he hesitated. His mind elsewhere? What's wrong? She asked, pinning him gently, her curves pressing against him in a way that usually ignited fire but now stirred questions. Just thinking about home. He lied, kissing her to deflect. Zara noticed too, pulling him aside later in the corridors. You're distant, spill it. Her hand on his arm was comforting, but the twist gnawed at him. Could he trust them with this bombshell? Deciding to act, Jax slipped away that evening. The amulet, a simple pendant he'd worn as a lucky charm, clutched in his hand. The underlevels were a labyrinth of forgotten corridors, humming with dormant energy. He followed Elias's clues, the amulet glowing faintly, guiding him to a sealed vault. As it opened with a scan of his palm, confirming his hybrid nature, a chamber revealed itself, walls etched with ancient scripts, a central pedestal holding a crystalline orb pulsing with inner light. The Nexus core. But he wasn't alone. Footsteps echoed, and Nara emerged from the shadows, her voluptuous form tense, white hair disheveled. I knew you'd come, she said, her voice a mix of regret and resolve. Surprise layered upon twist. She was part of the collective, her redemption a ploy. Your blood awakens it, Jax, for the greater good, or so they say. She advanced, her suit clinging to her sensual lines, but her eyes held conflict. Join us, with your heritage, you could rule beside me. Jax backed away, heart pounding. Greater good, by manipulating everyone. The orb hummed louder, responding to his proximity, visions flooding his mind, galaxies connected, power unlimited, but at the cost of free will. Nara lunged, their struggle intimate and fierce, bodies colliding in the confined space. He dodged her strikes, using the environment toppling a console to create distance. This isn't you, he urged, seeing the doubt in her violet eyes. She hesitated, and in that moment, he disarmed her, pinning her against the wall, their breaths mingling. Why? He demanded. Tears glistened on her porcelain skin. They promised to restore my world, lost in the wars, but you're different, the hybrid they feared. The confession hung heavy, but alarms blared, security breached. Lyra and Zara burst in, lasers drawn, eyes widening at the scene. Jax, Nara? Lyra's voice cracked with betrayal. He released Nara, stepping back. It's not what it looks like, but everything's changed. He revealed the twist, the hologram replaying Elias's message for them, their faces mirroring his shock. Lyra approached, her hand on his chest. "Hybrid, that explains us." Zara nodded, her touch joining. "Doesn't change how we feel." But Nara, unbound now, whispered, "The collective is coming. Activate it or they'll force you." The orb pulsed ominously, a fleet signature appearing on its surface, approaching ships, cloaked and deadly. Drama escalated as they formed a hasty plan, the twist propelling them into action. Jax, embracing his dual heritage, interfaced with the core not to awaken destruction, but to shield Zarathia. Energy surged through him, visions of his mother, a white-haired warrior like them, guiding his hand. The fleet materialized, but the core's barrier repelled them, a surprise counter that sent shockwaves through the attackers. In the chaos, Nara chose sides definitively, fighting alongside them against incoming agents. "For you," she admitted to Jax, her curvaceous form a blur in combat. The battle raged in the underlevels, lasers flashing, bodies grappling. Jax's hybrid abilities awakened subtly, enhanced speed, intuitive dodges turning the tide. Lyra and Zara covered him, their bonds unbreakable, touches reassuring even in peril. As the intruders retreated, the core stabilized, its power now under Jax's control, a tool for protection, not conquest. The group emerged victorious, but changed. Jax stood taller, his grin genuine again, infused with newfound purpose. "Guess I'm more than just a delivery boy," he quipped, pulling Lyra and Zara close, Nara hovering nearby with tentative hope. The revelation rippled through the academy, alliances shifting. Sora and Luna, cleared of suspicion, pledged support, but the collective lurked, promising future confrontations. For now, Jax reveled in his truth, his loves by his side, the stars holding endless surprises. Yet, as they watched the enemy fleet warp away from a viewport, a final twist lingered in Jax's mind. Elias's message had a postscript. "Your mother left more than blood, seek the sister worlds." What other secrets awaited? With his hybrid heart beating strong, Jax embraced the unknown, ready for whatever came next. With his hybrid heart beating strong, Jax embraced the unknown, ready for whatever came next. The viewport's glow faded as the last enemy ship vanished into the hyperspace rift, leaving the Academy's halls buzzing with a mix of relief and speculation. Jax turned from the window, his mind still echoing with Elias's cryptic postscript, "Seek the sister worlds." What did it mean? Planets linked to Zarathia, perhaps, or something more personal, tied to his mother's legacy. He pushed the thought aside for now, focusing on the immediate warmth of his companions. Lyra and Zara flanked him, their bodies close in the afterglow of battle, while Nara lingered a step behind, her redemption fresh but her presence adding a layer of tentative alliance to the group. They made their way to the central lounge, a spacious area with plush seating that overlooked the planet's recovering storms, where cadets gathered to decompress. Sora and Luna were already there, their elegant forms draped over cushions, sipping nectar from crystalline glasses. "The hybrid hero returns," Luna teased, her curvaceous figure shifting as she patted the seat beside her. "Come, sit. Tell us how it feels to command ancient power with a mere touch." Jax chuckled, settling in, but the word hybrid hung awkwardly in the air, a reminder of his newly revealed identity that made conversations tiptoe around unspoken questions. Lyra slid in next to him, her hand finding his thigh under the table, a possessive gesture that Zara noticed, her pointed ears twitching with a hint of amusement mixed with rivalry. "Feels like I accidentally hacked the universe's cheat codes," Jax quipped, trying to lighten the mood, but his voice carried an undercurrent of unease. The drama of his heritage simmered beneath the surface, heightening every interaction. Nara joined them hesitantly, her voluptuous form drawing eyes as she perched on the edge, her white hair still tousled from the fight. "I owe you all an apology," she began, her voice soft but steady. "My involvement with the collective, I thought it was for my world's sake, but it was manipulation." The admission thickened the air, awkward silence stretching until Zara broke it with a snort. "Apology accepted, but next time you play double agent, warn us before the dramatic vault showdown. I nearly singed my hair dodging those lasers." Laughter rippled through the group, easing the tension, but Jax felt Nara's gaze on him, laden with unspoken gratitude and perhaps something more intimate. As the evening deepened, the lounge filled with more cadets, Ori, with her lithe grace, and Mira's former aides now realigned under Sora's leadership. Stories flowed, but drama escalated when a holographic alert pinged, residual energy signatures from the Nexus core, fluctuating wildly. It's reacting to something external. Sora analyzed, her silver robe slipping slightly as she leaned over the display, creating an unintentional distraction that made Jax avert his eyes awkwardly. Perhaps the sister worlds Elias mentioned. Luna suggested, her eyes locking on Jax with curious intensity. He shifted uncomfortably, the spotlight on his personal history feeling like an interrogation wrapped in camaraderie. Sister worlds, sounds like a bad family reunion invite. He joked, but his grin faltered when the hologram resolved into a map, twin planets orbiting a distant star. Labeled in ancient Zarathian script, Orvian and Lunara, linked to Zarathia by old migration paths, the revelation hit like a plasma wave, heightening the stakes. Your mother's origins trace back there, Nara interjected, her knowledge from the collective adding weight. The collective seeks artifacts on those worlds to amplify the nexus. If they get them first, she trailed off, the implication clear, galaxy-wide domination. Jax's hybrid blood boiled with a mix of fear and determination, but the awkwardness peaked when Lyra's hand tightened on his leg, her violet eyes flashing possessively. We'll go, together. Zara nodded, but shot Lyra a look. All of us, including the reformed spy? Nara flushed, her porcelain skin turning a faint blue. I can help navigate, I've studied the paths. The exchange hung heavy, humor creeping in when Jax quipped, Great, a road trip with ex-enemies and cosmic family secrets. What could go wrong? Hack the snacks. Preparations turned frantic, the Academy mobilizing a small expedition shuttle. In the armory, drama intertwined with awkward situations as they geared up. Lyra helped Jax adjust his enhanced suit, a hybrid of human and Zarathian tech that hugged his frame, accentuating muscles he hadn't realized were so defined. Her fingers lingered on his chest plate, tracing the seams with a touch that sent sparks through him. This suits you, hybrid, she murmured, her curves pressing close in the confined space. But Zara walked in mid-moment, arms laden with weapons, her own suit clinging to her sensual form. Am I interrupting another gear check? She asked dryly, eyebrows raised. Jax stammered, just making sure it doesn't chafe in hyperspace. The women exchanged glances, a silent turf war brewing, until Nara entered, oblivious, and tripped over a loose strap, tumbling into Jax's arms. Sorry, these boots are slippery, she gasped, her body flush against his, amplifying the comedy of errors. Laughter erupted, diffusing the jealousy, but the drama lingered in stolen looks and unspoken rivalries. Launch approached amid heightening tension. In the shuttle bay, Sora briefed them. Orvian first, it's the more volatile sister world, with ruins holding the primary artifact. Luna added, beware the guardians, automated sentinels from the old wars. Jax nodded, but his mind raced to Elias's words, wondering if these worlds held clues to his mother's flight. As they boarded, awkwardness struck again when seating arranged itself, Jax between Lyra and Zara, Nara across, creating a triangle of charged glances. Cozy, Zara commented, her thigh brushing his intentionally. Lyra countered with a hand on his knee. Very, Nara, trying to fit in, offered, I brought extra rations if anyone gets hungry. Jax laughed nervously. Nothing like space munchies to break the ice or start a food fight. Hyperspace jump initiated, the shuttle humming as stars blurred. Drama built during the transit, conversations turning personal. Lyra shared stories of her academy days, her voice soft, but Zara interjected with tales of her own exploits, each trying to outshine the other in Jax's eyes. Remember that simulation where I took down 3 holograms solo? Zara boasted. Lyra smirked. Impressive, I did 4 while blindfolded. Nara, feeling left out, chimed in awkwardly. I once infiltrated a collective base, but got caught in a ventilation shaft, spent hours wiggling out. The image elicited chuckles, Jax picturing her curvaceous form stuck, adding humor to the rivalry. Sounds like a tight squeeze, he said, winking, which made all 3 women blush in varying shades, heightening the intimate tension. Arrival at Orvian shattered the levity. The planet was a rugged beauty, crimson canyons under a binary sun, ruins dotting the landscape like forgotten jewels. They landed near a primary site, emerging into thin air that carried the scent of ancient dust and ozone. Drama intensified as sensors detected movement, sentinels activating, metallic guardians with glowing eyes and energy limbs, patrolling the ruins. They're keyed to Zarathian blood, Nara warned, her knowledge proving vital. Jax, with his hybrid essence, stepped forward, the amulet pulsing as he interfaced with a control obelisk, but the process glitched, a surge knocking him back into Lyra's arms. Got you, she said, holding him close, her body a steady anchor. Zara rolled her eyes. Convenient, Nara stifled a giggle. At least he's falling for you, literally. The sentinels advanced, forcing a hurried retreat into the ruins' labyrinth. Heightening drama unfolded in chases through narrow corridors, lasers grazing suits, bodies pressing together in hiding spots. In one alcove, Jax and Zara squeezed in, her curves against him, breath sinking. Not the time for this, she whispered, but her hand lingered on his waist. Lyra and Nara found them moments later, the awkward discovery sparking a hushed argument. Focus, Jax urged, humor in his tone. We can sort the cuddle rotations later. They pressed on, Nara decoding traps with collective intel, her redemption shining as she disarmed a pressure plate just in time. Deep in the central chamber, the artifact awaited, a crystalline shard humming with power, linked to the Nexus. But drama peaked when a holographic guardian manifested, a projection of Jax's mother, her white-haired form ethereal, pointed ears like theirs. My son, she intoned, her voice echoing with emotion. The sister worlds hold your destiny and dangers. The collective's leader is your aunt, exiled for her ambitions. The twist from before deepened, family drama on a cosmic scale heightening the stakes. Jax touched the hologram, tears welling unexpectedly. Mom, the vulnerability made the moment awkward, his companions witnessing his raw humanity, hybrid or not. Zara placed a hand on his shoulder, Lyra on the other, Nara hovering supportively. We're here, Lyra said softly. But the guardian warned, retrieve the shard, but beware, the collective approaches Lunara next. They secure the artifact, its energy syncing with Jax's amulet, boosting his abilities. Escape was tense, sentinels pursuing, but Jax's enhanced speed, dodging blasts with unnatural grace, turned the tide. Humor slipped in when Nara tripped again, rolling into a sentinel and short-circuiting it. My secret weapon, clumsiness? She laughed breathlessly. Back on the shuttle, bound for Lunara, exhaustion mixed with triumph. The artifact's glow illuminated their faces, bonds strengthening amid the drama. Jax shared a quiet moment with the group, awkward affections overlapping, kisses from Lyra, embraces from Zara, a tentative hug from Nara. This family stuff is complicated, he admitted. Zara smirked. Welcome to the club, but with us, it's never boring. Lunara loomed, promising more revelations, but for now, they rested. The shuttles hum a lullaby to their intertwined fates. As they neared the second sister world, a lush, forested orb with hidden temples, the sensors blared, collective forces already planetside. Drama surged, awkward alliances tested anew. Jax gripped the controls, his hybrid resolve firm. Round 2, let's make it memorable. Word count, 1,521, yet, as they watched the enemy fleet warp away from a viewport, a final twist lingered in Jax's mind. Elias's message had a postscript. Your mother left more than blood. Seek the sister worlds. What other secrets awaited? With his hybrid heart beating strong, Jax embraced the unknown, ready for whatever came next. The viewport's glow faded, leaving the group in a reflective silence that stretched like the vastness of space itself. Lyra leaned against him, her white hair tickling his neck, while Zara stood close on his other side, her arm brushing his in a way that sent familiar sparks. Nara hovered a step back, her curvaceous form still tense from the battle, but her violet eyes softened as they met his. We did it, Lyra whispered, her voice a soothing melody amid the Academy's humming recovery efforts. Jax nodded, forcing a grin. Yeah, but let's not jinx it. Knowing my luck, the next crisis is probably hiding in the vending machine. The quip drew chuckles, easing the post-battle heaviness, but drama simmered beneath. As they made their way back to the command chamber, alarms flickered intermittently, residual glitches from the core's surge, or something more. Sora greeted them with a holographic debrief, her lithe figure gesturing animatedly over the displays, robe flowing like liquid silver. The collective's retreat is confirmed, but scans show anomalous energy signatures rippling toward the sister worlds, Orvian and Lunara. Jax's pulse quickened at the mention, Elias's words echoing. Sister worlds? His mother's legacy? He kept his expression neutral, but Lyra noticed, her pointed ears twitching. Jax, you look like you've seen a ghost from your human myths. Before he could deflect, Zara chimed in, her tone playful yet probing. Or maybe he's just hungry, humans and their endless appetites. She winked, her hand slipping to his lower back in a gesture that was equal parts supportive and teasing, heightening the awkward intimacy in front of the others. Sora raised an elegant eyebrow, her lips quirking. Appetites, indeed. Rumors say you've been satisfying more than just curiosity lately. The room heated up instantly, Luna stifling a giggle from her station, her curvaceous form shaking with mirth. Jax felt his cheeks warm, a rare crack in his grinning facade. Whoa, easy on the gossip circuit, we're all adults here, but let's keep the debrief PG-rated. Nara shifted uncomfortably, her porcelain skin flushing a faint blue, adding to the awkward hilarity. PG? Another human riddle. Zara laughed, pulling him closer. It means pretty galactic, right, Jax? The humor diffused the moment, but drama lurked as the meeting delved deeper. Zara projected maps of Orvian and Lunara, twin planets orbiting a shared star, veiled in nebulae that hid ancient ruins tied to Zarathia's history. These worlds were your mother's sanctuary. Zara revealed, her voice dropping dramatically, eyes locking on Jax. Exiled cadets like her sought refuge there during the wars. The Nexus Core's full potential links to artifacts hidden on both. Jax's hybrid blood hummed in response, a subtle vibration he now recognized as his heritage awakening. But why hadn't Elias mentioned specifics? Trust issues gnawed at him, who else knew about his lineage? Lyra's hand tightened on his, her curves pressing reassuringly, but the revelation stirred jealousy in Zara's glance, heightening the emotional stakes. Deciding action was better than brooding. The council greenlit a mission to the sister worlds. Small team, Jax, Lyra, Zara, Nara. Depart at dawn, Zara commanded, her poise unwavering. As the group dispersed, awkwardness peaked in the corridors. Nara caught up to Jax, her voluptuous figure blocking his path, white hair disheveled from the day's chaos. About earlier, in the vault, I wasn't fully honest. Her confession hung heavy, her body language a mix of vulnerability and allure, robe slipping slightly to reveal the elegant lines of her shoulder. Jax paused, Lyra and Zara flanking him like protective sentinels. Now, with an audience? He joked, trying to lighten the drama, but his voice cracked slightly. Zara crossed her arms, her ample chest heaving with a sigh. Spill it, sister. We're all in this cosmic soap opera together. Nara's eyes darted between them, the situation turning comically tense. The collective recruited me because of your mother. She was my mentor on Zarathia before fleeing. She left clues for you on Orvian, in a hidden enclave. I was supposed to lead you there as a trap, but after seeing your strength, I couldn't. The admission dropped like a bombshell, drama surging as Lyra's pointed ears flattened in anger. You played us, again. Zara stepped forward, her curves taut with readiness. Easy, Lyra. Let's not turn this into a catfight, though Jax might enjoy the view. The humor cut through, Jax chuckling despite himself. Ladies, please, no wrestling without tickets. Nara looked mortified, her flush deepening. I'm sorry. Let me prove it on the mission. The awkward revelation bonded them oddly, the group retiring to Jax's quarters for a tense planning session that evolved into something more. Nectar was shared, easing edges, but drama bubbled when Zara teased Nara about her redemption arc. From villain to sidekick, please, we're the ones keeping you in line. Nara shot back lightly, better than being the jealous second fiddle. Lyra laughed, but her hand possessively claimed Jax's thigh under the table, heightening the romantic tension. Jax navigated the banter with quips. If this is my harem, I need a better scriptwriter, drawing groans and giggles that masked deeper emotions. Dawn came with the shuttle launch, the vessel sleek and humming as it pierced Zarathia's atmosphere, en route to Orvian first. The close confines amplified everything, awkward brushes of bodies in zero-G. Humorous mishaps like Jax fumbling a ration pack that exploded in a puff of synth food, coating Zara's white hair in glittery dust. You did that on purpose, she accused, laughing as she shook it off, her curves jiggling in a distracting display. Lyra helped clean her, their touches lingering, drawing Jax into the fray. Group effort. He quipped, his hands joining theirs, the moment turning intimate amid the humor. Nara watched from her seat, her inclusion tentative, but when she shared a story of Jax's mother, her bravery in the wars, it bridged the gap, drama weaving into camaraderie. Arrival on Orvian brought peril. The planet's surface a labyrinth of crystalline forests that refracted light into disorienting illusions. Navigating the enclave, drama heightened with environmental traps, mirrored pitfalls that separated them momentarily. Jax tumbled into one, landing in a soft crystal bed, only to find Nara falling after him, their bodies entangled in an awkward heap. Of all the places, he muttered, her voluptuous form pressed against him, her scent overwhelming. This isn't how I imagined our bonding moment. She extricated herself with a blush, but not before Lyra and Zara pulled them out, their expressions a mix of concern and amusement. Save the cuddles for later, Zara teased, but her eyes held a flicker of jealousy, adding layers to the dynamic. Deeper in, they uncovered the enclave, a glowing chamber etched with holograms of Jax's mother. Her image a striking blend of human warmth and alien elegance, white hair flowing, pointed ears proud. My son, the recording began dramatically. The sister worlds hold the Echo Relic, twin artifacts that, united with your blood, can seal the collective forever. But beware, betrayal shadows you. The message cut off as seismic tremors shook the ground, collective agents ambushing, their stealth suits blending with the crystals. The fight was chaotic, bodies clashing in refracted light, awkward dodges turning comical when Jax slipped on crystal shards, taking down two foes in a flailing tumble. Human clumsiness for the win, he yelled, heightening the humor amid laser fire. Lyra fought fiercely, her graceful curves a whirlwind, protecting Jax as he interfaced with the first artifact, a pulsing crystal that resonated with his hybrid essence. Zara covered Nara, their teamwork seamless despite earlier tensions. But drama peaked when an agent unmasked, Elen, a former Academy cadet thought loyal. Betrayal a gut punch. For power, she snarled, lunging at Nara. The scuffle ended with Elen's capture, but not before she wounded Zara, blood staining her suit. Ouch, that's gonna leave a mark. Zara quipped through gritted teeth, Jax rushing to her side, his hands trembling as he applied a med patch, the awkward proximity stirring memories of their intimacies. With the first Echo relic secured, they evacuated to the shuttle, Zara bandaged but defiant. Next stop, Lunara, Jax said, his voice steady despite the drama. The journey there was fraught with system malfunctions, sabotage from Elen, leading to humorous fixes, like Nara jury-rigging controls while Jax held wires, their faces inches apart in the cramped panel. Don't shock me, she warned, her breath warm. Too late for that, he replied, earning eye rolls from Lyra and Zara. Lunara's icy terrains contrasted Orvian's crystals, blizzards whipping as they trekked to the second enclave. Drama intensified with environmental hazards, avalanches triggered by hidden mines, separating Jax and Lyra from the others, trapped in a snow cave. Awkwardness bloomed as they huddled for warmth, bodies pressed close. This is cozy, Jax joked, his arms around her sensual form. Romantic, even if not for the frostbite risk. Lyra's lips found his, the kiss deepening into passion, her curves melting against him, but interrupted by Zara's voice crackling over comms. You two better not be having fun without us. The rescue was timely, Nara blasting through ice, but the moment lingered, heightening jealous undercurrents. The second enclave revealed more holograms, Jax's mother warning of the collective's leader, a shadowy figure with ties to Zarathia. Uniting the relics, Jax's blood activated a barrier pulse, repelling incoming forces in a dramatic light show. But humor struck when the pulse backfired slightly, static charging everyone's hair into wild manes. We look like escaped lab experiments. Zara laughed, trying to tame her white locks. Nara joined in, the group bonding over the absurdity. Back on Zarathia, the relic sealed the nexus, the collective shattered. Yet, awkward celebrations ensued, Jax pulled into dances, his hybrid status now public, drawing admirers like Ori and Tiva, stirring playful rivalries. Hands off. Lyra and Zara chorused, Nara smirking from the sidelines. Jax grinned through it all, his heart full, the drama of his heritage turning into strength. As night fell, they retreated together, intimacies rekindled with humor-laced tenderness. To more adventures, Jax toasted, bodies entwining. The stars held promises, but for now, love and laughter reigned. As night fell, they retreated together, intimacies rekindled with humor-laced tenderness. To more adventures, Jax toasted, bodies entwining. The stars held promises, but for now, love and laughter reigned. In the quiet sanctuary of his expanded quarters, now a shared haven overlooking Zarathia's calming seas, the four of them lingered in the afterglow, the relic's soft glow from a secured case casting ethereal patterns on the walls. Lyra nestled against Jax's chest, her white hair spilling like moonlight over his skin, her pointed ears still warm from their shared passions. Zara lay on his other side, her curvaceous form draped lazily, one leg thrown over his in playful possession, while Nara sat at the foot of the bed, her voluptuous silhouette framed by the viewport, tentatively joining the circle with a soft smile that spoke of newfound belonging. The artifacts pulsed faintly, a reminder of the victories on Orvian and Lunara, where Jax's hybrid blood had sealed the Echo relic's power, creating an unbreakable shield around Zarathia and its allies. The collective's remnants had scattered like dust in a solar wind, their leaders' ambitions crumbling under the weight of exposed truths. But in this moment, the galaxy's vast conflicts felt distant, overshadowed by the simple joy of connection. Jax traced lazy circles on Lyra's back, feeling the steady rhythm of her breath, a melody that harmonized with Zara's contented sighs and Nara's occasional light laughter at some remembered quip from the day. "You know," he murmured into the dim light, "when I crashed here, I thought my biggest worry was fixing my ship. Now, it's figuring out how to juggle 3 incredible women without starting an interstellar incident." Zara chuckled, her fingers playing with his hair. "Juggling? Please, human, we're the ones keeping you in line." Lyra lifted her head, violet eyes sparkling with mischief, and enjoying every moment of it. Nara shifted closer, her hand resting gently on his ankle, her touch hesitant but warm. "Room for one more in this juggling act?" The question hung with a vulnerability that tugged at Jax's heart, his hybrid nature resonating with her own journey from betrayal to redemption. He reached out, pulling her into the tangle, their bodies forming a comfortable knot of limbs and affection. "Always," he said softly, sealing it with a kiss that she returned with surprising fervor, her porcelain skin flushing under his touch. Days blended into weeks as Zarathia healed, the academy transforming from a fortress of peril into a beacon of unity. Jax's role evolved, he became an ambassador of sorts, bridging human ingenuity with Zarathian grace. Classes incorporated his hybrid hacks, as the cadets dubbed them, improvised tactics that turned underdog scenarios into triumphs, embodying the HFY spirit that had carried him through. Zara, now firmly at the helm, often sought his counsel, her elegant form leaning over strategy tables where Jax sketched wild ideas on holographic pads. "Your mother's legacy lives in you," she told him one afternoon, as they overlooked the training arenas alive with white-haired warriors practicing new maneuvers. "She fled to protect the future. You've claimed it." The sister world's artifacts had unlocked more than defenses. They revealed archives of lost knowledge, including personal logs from Jax's mother. In quiet evenings, he shared them with his loves, her holographic image flickering to life, her voice a blend of strength and sorrow. "I left Zarathia to birth you in freedom," she confessed in one entry, her pointed ears adorned with simple jewels, her eyes, so like Jax's, filled with resolve. Hybrid blood is the key to harmony, not conquest. The revelations deepened their bonds, turning drama into understanding. Zara, ever the bold one, would tease, "So, you're part alien royalty? Does that make us your consorts?" Lyra would laugh, pulling her close. "Consorts with claws if anyone challenges." Nara, growing bolder, added her own humor, and me, the reformed rogue in the royal court. Jax grinned through it all, his human heart swelling with a love that transcended species. Adventures didn't cease, they evolved. A diplomatic mission to Terra Nova reunited Jax with Elias, the old man embracing him like a long-lost son under Earth's blue skies. "You look different," Elias noted, eyeing Jax's enhanced suit and the subtle glow in his eyes from the relic's influence. Lyra, Zara, and Nara stood by, their ethereal beauty drawing stares from colonists, but their warrior poise commanded respect. "Meet the family," Jax introduced with a wink, the awkwardness of explaining his polyamorous entourage turning into heartfelt stories around a campfire. Elias shared tales of Jax's mother, her arrival on a stolen shuttle, her fierce protection of their secret. "She'd be proud," he said, clasping Jax's shoulder. The visit forged alliances, human colonies linking with Zarathia, sharing tech and tales that celebrated humanity's unyielding spirit. Back on Zarathia, intimacies flourished in unexpected ways. One starry night, they ventured to the planet's hidden hot springs, steam rising like veils around their forms. Jax watched as Lyra and Zara splashed playfully, their curves glistening under the moon's light, pointed ears twitching with delight. Nara joined tentatively, her body relaxing in the warm waters, and soon they pulled him in, laughter echoing as they floated together. Touches turned tender, bodies entwining in the buoyant embrace, desires building in gentle waves. Lyra's kisses were soft explorations, Zara's bold and passionate, Nara's curious and eager, each adding to a symphony of affection that left Jax breathless. "This is paradise," he whispered later, as they lay on the mossy banks, stars wheeling above. "No, it's us," Lyra corrected, her hand over his heart. Challenges arose, as they always do in the stars. A rogue collective splinter group targeted Lunara's remnants, drawing the team back into action. On the icy world, drama reignited, avalanches and ambushes testing their unity. Jax's hybrid abilities shone, sensing traps before they sprung, his blood syncing with the relic's echoes, in a tense standoff. Surrounded by foes, Zara quipped through chattering teeth. Next time, pack warmer suits or more body heat. Lyra's fierce protection, Nara's clever diversions, and Jax's improvised EMP from scavenged tech turned the tide. Victory came with a humorous twist. The Splinter leader, unmasked as a bumbling opportunist, begged for mercy in a comically high-pitched voice. Not so tough without your shadows, Jax laughed, securing him for transport. These escapades only strengthened their resolve, each trial a forge for deeper love. Nara fully integrated, her past a bridge to understanding enemies turned allies. The academy thrived, cadets like Ori and Tiva emulating their hybrid hero, incorporating human resilience into their training. Jax often reflected on his journey, from lost delivery boy to galactic guardian, marveling at how one smile had sparked it all. His relationships blossomed into a harmonious blend, jealousies fading into shared joys, intimacies a celebration of their unique tapestry. Years passed in the blink of cosmic time. Zarathia became a hub for interspecies exchange, humans and aliens mingling in halls once forbidden. Jax, now a legend, stood on a balcony with his loves, watching a fleet of allied ships depart for exploration. Lyra leaned into him, her form still as graceful, white hair threaded with silver from time's gentle touch. "We've built something eternal," she said. Zara, ever vibrant, added, "And fun, don't forget the fun." Nara, confident now, kissed his cheek. "With you at the center." As the stars beckoned, Jax's grin, that unyielding human spark, widened. He'd survived the galaxy's deadliest dangers, unraveled conspiracies, and found love in the most unexpected forms. Humanity's resilience. Fuck yeah, it wasn't just about strength. It was about heart, wit, and the courage to smile through the storm. The adventure continued, endless as the universe, but with them by his side, every ending was merely a new beginning. As the stars beckoned, Jax's grin, that unyielding human spark, widened. He'd survived the galaxy's deadliest dangers, unraveled conspiracies, and found love in the most unexpected forms. Humanity's resilience. Fuck yeah, it wasn't just about strength. It was about heart, wit, and the courage to smile through the storm. The adventure continued, endless as the universe, but with them by his side, every ending was merely a new beginning. And that's the end of our thrilling HFY sci-fi tale. Personally, I love how it celebrates human ingenuity and unexpected romances in a cosmic setting. It's empowering and fun. What do you think? Who's your favorite character? Or how would you continue the story? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, comment, and share. This motivates us to create even better stories. See you in the next adventure.